gotta make sure this is right. The DJ Flights.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my money right. Sitting at my head just got me looking like a money mic. Motherfuckers like bury me up on a fucking flight. Never got involved with stupid shit, I felt that wasn't right. Yeah, it's been a lovely night. Got you on my radar. I hit you with these thoughts and I'm your father just like Gator. Yeah, lit like a quasar. Drink a little crystal. You only keep complaining cause your mother just got laid out. Yeah, you just a reprobate on a devil's date. To you haters this I dedicate. Then I meditate. Just a weed and watch it medicate, then I levitate, going up into a better place, reach the heaven gates, fly by. You niggas made from dust and water, words of Play-Doh. The building blocks that I'll be talking about and using Legos. Been making so much money, got me stepping my fingers like a Play-Doh. Shit got me so geek, only place that I I'll be spatial, play bars. No groceries, but I gotta get the bag. You going by nothing, so you gotta fit the bag. You bout to take it back, so you ain't gotta put the tag. But you play just like the music maker, all your shit is trash, play bars. Yeah, okay. Everybody cares. Best thing you can do is act like Dolo don't exist. I've been through the pain, and I flew a plane. You can bet your $1, I'ma do my thing. I'ma give you something to hate. 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 Flight boss, bitch. I'ma give you something to hate. Give you something to hate. In your motherfucking face, bitch. Yeah, look up in the sky, see the pilot passing. Yeah, the industry don't want me to be Michael Jackson. The government been watching all your idols' actions. That's the reason why you think this life's attractive. Yeah, look up in my pants and there's a plate on packet. Yeah, you are not yourself and all the lights is flashing. Yeah, don't really give a fuck if you don't like my fashion. If you would do, you really starting to sound just like a faggot. Yeah, hit her with a left and a right with the hook. Bitch, it ain't my fault you put your life in a book. I be on a plane with the lead tossing clips. I be the game, shit is dead off the rip. Okay, I just
RP hip hop. RP hip hop. But y'all got me. It's something new.
It ain't my fault you put your life in a book. I be on a plane with the lead tossing clips. I be the game, shit is dead off the rip. Okay, ashes to death of death. Back in the back seat, a rubber clutch. Copy the cat, did the double dash. Never gave a fuck about a double cup. The who is who's on the city such. Call the bag, is the one that's going up the up. DJ Khaled is another one. You a liability, you can't go with us. Oh, it's gonna be a long day. You need to redirect your path and direction. You been going down the wrong way. Tell you right now, stepping on my toes, you are in the wrong lane. Ride to the wheels, fall off, ties spot. I ain't talking wrong game, play vibes. Yeah, okay, everybody haters. Best thing you can do is act like Dolo don't exist. I've been through the pain, and I flew a plane. You can bet your $1, I'ma do my thing. I'ma give you something to hate. 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 Flight boss, bitch. I'ma give you something to hate. Give you something to hate. In your motherfucking face, bitch.
Here we go now. Here we go now. You know what I'm saying? Piece of New York, piece of the South, slight piece of, you know what I'm saying, West. You could get a beat like that. You know what I'm saying? Get a sound. They could crip walk to it, blood walk to it. They could bounce to it in the A, like Jay may say. They got the bounce. They got the bounce. Hey, Tim, you got the bounce? You got the bounce for me, Tim? For real. For real. You got the bounce. You could be in New York. They still got the hallway. You in the, you know what I'm saying? You in the goddamn elevator and got stuck one day and stuff like that. You was in the elevator for 3 hours. Got that kind of sound in it. You know what I'm saying? That new creative space could be created right now. Or your monkey could be looking like you need a straitjacket during this particular time. And we're going to break it down. We're going to break it down. I don't care if you believe it or not. Go on your night book journal, your dream journal book and stuff like that about previous times of your life and all the retardation you went through, all the mistakes you went through. You better believe it got something to do with it. You better believe it's a part of life. You better believe what I'm getting ready to talk about is a part of life. Slow down. My Pisces out there already know this. Now that's what they sometimes Pisces be needing ways to explain it, or other people around that could be like into the same thing they into because they see it in this way. And anytime it's a Pisces not around that energy, They need a straight jacket. But for the most part, like I said, the other signs, sometimes if a Scorpio ain't busy enough with life and trying to get over grudges or whatever the case may be, they can get into it or whatever the case. Sagittarius, you know what I'm saying? Aries created it. I'll tell you right now, Aries created it. Oh, I'm saying, I don't need no script. This is me. Yeah, but one person know how to see it from their perspective. Pisces, you know what I'm saying? Little Scorpio know how to be like that. They ain't using it to manipulate somebody. One person over here know how to. Leo know how to just use it for attention and whatever. You know what I'm saying? However the case may be, this goes in a lot of different energies though. No matter business, entertainment, education, religion, or politics. I just so happens to be in all of these energies, but from the hood. That's a double-edged sword. That's what God told me that was a double-edged sword. You think I'm about to leave it dull? Get your mind right. That's what these things all about. Before we even get into it, the spirituality for the hood. It's for everybody to get their mind right and everybody to have better perspectives, even when you're in a downing perspective or a downing situation or insecure circumstance or however the case. A lot of times we be dealing with battles that ain't even got nothing to do with outside of us. It's that internal battle, and sometimes we ain't even got enough time to fight it because we too scattered into the external world. People, places, and things. And we can't find that little pocket that we can spend at least 10 seconds to go ahead and counterpartmentalize this thought, get this thought out of here so it don't fall and play out as an elbow movement that lead into mistakes in our lives and into the halfway house or into divorces and stuff like that, or into losing everything, or into being late on our child support bills, or however the case it may be. Like, but a lot of these times it start at the mind frame. And you got to be in that little space sometimes that you got time to do that. You need time for your mind. That's your mind, your time, your mind. Your space is your spirit. We all got to end. Spirit is a term for multiple. Solo is a term for singular. But we all got a space. So spirit, that's just saying we all got a soul, an individual spirit. But we all got a space. So you got your space, your spirit, your soul. You got your mind, your time, and you got your matter, your physical body. A lot of times it be so out of order what we've created with the physical external things that the body supposed to think matter, it don't no more. Then a lot of the external things that mimic the body, you get lost in those things, then those things become a crutch. This is why a lot of times you might, let's say you got sick on a job or something like that, it wasn't even that issue that they gave you and stuff. You might have gallstones or anything. It led to about 3-4 other medications. Then by the time you about 70, 80 years old, you on about like 70, 80 different medications too and stuff like that. The insurance company gonna make sure they get their money back. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing too. We got the peak game. It's a crazy world out here. Crazy world with stuff just about business. Ain't nothing wrong with stuff being about that money. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Ain't nothing wrong with that though. But sometimes people's health could be could be what they call that a casualty of war, business wise. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people's mind could be a casualty of war. You didn't pay about millions of dollars. You should kill O'Neal. You got arthritis in the left toe knuckle or something. You need a psychologist or something. Psychologist just retarded as you. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta think. Shout out to Shaq. Shout out. You know what I'm saying? A lot of, but we gotta think about these things. We gotta think about these things. A lot of that stuff could go into land and stuff. Construction and stuff. Y'all can still start going and build cabins and shit. Like, shout out to Cowboy. There go another mixed Native American right there. Shout out to Cowboy and stuff like that out there on the desert land. That's how you do it. Like, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wasting their time. You say he took one gold chain and got all. You know what I'm saying? All y'all running around with a chain right now. Broke. You did it for the bitches. You know what I'm saying? I don't come for that. You did it for the nostalgia. You did it for the glamour. Oh, that. You did it for the gram. What they used to do it for? What was that one called? It came at the same time. Snapchat and TikTok came at the early stages. What was it? Vine? You did it for the Vine. What happened to Vine? You know what I'm saying? They got kicked their ass. I think somebody kicked their ass. Who kicked Vine? See? That's the world we're going there, even in business. That's like a form of Burger King, McDonald allegory I'll be making. Somebody done got Vine up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Violate on everything. You know what I'm saying? We don't even think about Vine no more. I had to think about it for a second and be like, wait a minute. Yeah, I remember that. I remember all these little weak phases and stuff like that. I remember all that stuff. Oh, my bad, yo. Now you gotta make sure this is right. I remember all that. Vine got up out of here. Vine lacked creativity and creator directors. Vine lacked creative directors or something like that. They wasn't up on game. A lot of people probably shift goals, went to other companies, corporations, and stuff like that. So yeah, no telling what. But I mean, I ain't about to help them out. You know what I'm saying, we're in a new time right now. Let the best theology win. So that's what this whole concept is about. Also, you know what I'm saying? You could be seen as an individual with a straitjacket or need one, because when it's a new moon, that's a flushing out system. Everything that you building up, you're supposed to put that situation where you're looking at it as what's good to use and what's not good to use, and go ahead and start to build on that without those previous worries. Remember, when the moon is waxing, wax on, wax off. The moon is waxing, meaning it's filling up. So every sign that the moon is in is energy that you're supposed to participate in. Now, the stars don't always align. You are a star, and you don't always align with the angle with the sun and the moon. So it may be harder for you to do these things than others. Then it may be easier at other times throughout that month. This is why it's important to keep up with the moon phases, however the case may be, right? And understanding that when the sun is in that space, when the moon ain't there, it gives out it be there in that position for longer periods of time. We get to see whole transitions and micro changes when we see whole seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter. When the moon is there, it's like our moods, our inner tide, our vibe, right? So it moves just as fast. So when you change moods, right, it's not to say that people who want to look at things like pseudo and be like, oh, he's trying to say the moon and astrology and astronomy, you have to understand things from an equilibrium. Oh, so the moon controlling your tide, where even on the physical, it is a synchronicity to that, but it's just a reflection. It's us doing the cycle itself. But we're looking at things that has the same essence or same quality you have, even if it's a different form, a different organ, a different circumstance. That's how you learn from life. So if we see things that's greater than you that you didn't create, like phases like the sun and moon, and you see the moon move faster, well, we're moving, but the transition of it faster than the sun or whatever, anything that has that quality, all the way down to your moods, will be attached to that larger on a percentage scale when we talk about pocket family. There's pockets of existence, realities we understand, and things that spring from it that we call subsidiaries. But once you know that thing is part of that pocket family, then you can kind of get with the program, even if you don't understand what you're getting hit with, that might be from that same pocket family. So you can be extra aware of life to get to understand what's going on in your personal life, while things is going on that you don't understand, and you may cling on to certain things that lead on to mistakes. So that's what you have to understand. For an example, let's say how we separate with physical and metaphysical. You're just saying things you can't weigh and lift as metaphysical, but it still exists. That's like thoughts and feelings and stuff like that. So let's say it is things we can feel. Wind, but you know, wind is see-through, right? It's clear. So it's more of it's attached to, it's condensed, but it's more of the pocket family of things that we try to weigh, but it's in less dense. So we know that if things are already in formation and things has a clear quality to it, but we see different transitions of it all the way to water being clear, but you can feel it. We know how to size that up to being in a pocket family playing out at a certain level of condensity, right? It's not going to be more of another pocket family for you to try to make sense of it. You see what I'm saying? So it might be you thinking about a boat, but then you trying to make tennis work in your mind. There ain't no making a boat idea that'll work for tennis. Tennis ideas work for tennis, or whatever the case may be. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times you can't confuse stuff. You got to know it's a pocket family type of thing. And if you kind of know where something coming from, this is where your senses start to kick in, right? Where a person may not necessarily show you the energy up front, but you can know how they're moving their elbow and their body language and what they're saying and how they construct stuff, what kind of space that they're coming from. So a person probably didn't have to steal nothing in front of you, but you can pick up the vibe and sense, man, this person got thief qualities, or whatever the case may be. Let me not allow this person in my home as fast as someone else. You know what I'm saying? To make it simple for y'all, right? That's an example of something you can't lift or weigh, But in your mind, you put something in a pocket family and you put that person in that separate than someone that you probably could trust. That's what we doing in life. You know what I'm saying? Start pondering on those things. Start, you know what I'm saying? Meditate. This is what makes you an intelligent person. And because everything play out in other areas in our life that we don't think these things is connected. But these things is life. The things you think don't matter be all the matter. Especially when it be coming to how it play out physically already once it's too late. It be in y'all situations y'all be trying to cover up and lie, especially in y'all relationships and stuff like that. And then the things that y'all try to belittle and make other things more of the problem. No, that be the thing that is the problem. That is the problem. You see what I'm saying? So we, as y'all humans, y'all too busy sweeping stuff under the rug in areas we're not looking at it like we're sweeping things up under the rug. And the things in our life we did, and Walt Disney do teach us what we're sweeping up under the rug. Those petty things, those ain't even necessarily sweeping stuff up under the rug. You know what I'm saying? That's just us lying to ourselves, getting into things, too excited about a badge or a career or an ego that we got over our family, friends, and associates and coworkers we may have that may have been accepted based upon pop culture and Walt Disney. So it'd be a lot of stuff that we're into really fictitious that play out in other areas of our life when it's important and we be wanting to be sane. You know what I'm saying? It'd be those times that it could lead into mistakes and stuff like that. That these type of qualities need to be more on the percentage scale of our mind. This helps our relationships. This even helps us pick better relationships or how we deal with our family and friends and associates and go out and about getting future relationships and circumstances conducted. Because you'll start to know what to actually look for. The things you're actually looking for now can purely be constructed from Walt Disney without you being aware of it, because some of these things have been put into the neurons into our normal life. So a lot of y'all don't see anything in another way. And it takes a lot of people to become adults, red pills and feminists, and then other people looking at it from a distance at one of these people, their family, friends, or associates, or even content creators, because in today's time we're in right now, to realize where this mistake may stem from. But a lot of times these things be too late, especially in the shoes of a feminist and red pill. 9 times out of 10, before they even get rooted into a feminist energy already, she's already a drunk auntie and probably reaching that age of not being able to have her own kids and things of that nature. So her nieces and her nephews is her sons and daughters at this moment and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times her sister or brother be having to go get their kids back and stuff like that. Like, too much. You trying to be friends with my kids. That's your niece and nephew. Not, you know what I'm saying? Not yours. To act like you treating them like a kid, your sons and daughters, but really they your best friends and stuff, and you letting them, goddamn, my daughter got 20 kids now because I allowed this to go too far. You know what I'm saying? It'd be a lot of stuff y'all don't know, but I live in the hood. I see this type of stuff every day. Every day, you know what I'm saying? Some of these people very close to me in my life. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of intricacies that people get online as nerdy and stuff don't think about. Then even start doing psyops on people like this. And these people already be having problems in their own life and stuff like that. They ain't got time to be some goofy people online and be doing. But for the most part, like I said, right? Getting into the moon, being get ready to go into Pisces. That's a new moon and things of that nature. So that means new refreshing. So you need to be practicing something that's new refreshing. How you see something. See, this is where y'all don't be understanding, and then y'all call astrology and things like that pseudo or whatever the case may be, where there's an actual existence, but you don't know how to look at it. If you see something greater than you that you didn't exist in a new position or having some newness, then if it's things in nature that you know you need to replenish off of, and you like new experience or whatever the case may be, then what greater thing to act like than something in life that does that beyond you, and you could pull from it and do it in your own microwave, and you will start to see the results. That's pulling the right fruit from life. That's what that actually means. You know what I'm saying? You're taking the fruit from life. You're seeing what life doing in all instances. It's a mechanism all the way to how y'all look at God. And since y'all humans, y'all do like monkeys do and gorillas do and alligators do. You make a concept like it got your type of mind. And then it's an ability. It's all possibilities. So it's like a mechanism. It's a way how to do something. You see how just like the clouds, the light condensed to become clouds, the clouds condensed, scattered out, aired, and rain, or whatever the case may be. So it's a way to do something or whatever. Now you would get confused into, We're created that way of doing something, but we're all doing it. Teamwork makes the dream work. So this is where y'all get lost in existence and where you think we come from or where you going and don't know how to look at it and stuff like that, because y'all not paying attention to life happening and seeing how it happened or whatever the case. Those y'all start coming up with stupid stuff like, oh, we don't know everything or whatever. How? You see it every day. You just over exaggerate and then try to find something that can explain it in another human way, and a human is in the same position as you or whatever the case. So all animal species is in the same position. So obviously we all doing the same thing. So it ain't what we do, is how we do it. And all of us doing it in a subjective way as teamwork, that's what creates objective or whatever the case may be. So that mechanism itself is just something we all doing. But if you want to call God all possibilities, you know what I'm saying? That's it, transition into you understanding the mechanisms of life and how you do things. And if you do things in order, then you can say you're doing things like God or the holy ones or whatever, and all these spirits and all these different forms and stuff. If you out of order or whatever the case, you might be in a synthetic version of it. You know what I'm saying? Like Hebrew Israelism or whatever, or some, like just some confused energy that ain't got nothing to do with life. You're lost in what humans in life did to you. So you're more on a bias. So you're looking in the book for something to help your mind based upon, and in today's time, based upon things that ain't even happened to you. None of y'all are these people in Palestine or none of these things where Jesus came from or whatever. But y'all in America just colonized out. So we're in a new time. We understand the non-practicality of it, and we understand people use it to help their mind or whatever the case may be. That still doesn't make you not mentally retarded. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's a social norm or whatever, it's not no one's fault you don't have the ability to think. Like, so in that aspect, God is all possibilities. You have the ability to think better. If that's your crutch, you don't have a close to God ability. You know what I'm saying? You have some weird made up thing or whatever the case to help you with an insecurity. So, but if you don't understand that, that's where you lack intelligence, not your defense for what you're using externally for a crutch, whether it's physical crutches or whether in this aspect or allegory a Bible. But it doesn't even matter. You just don't know how to think. So it ain't what we think, it's how we think, and how you think is flawed. You see what I'm saying? So, but you might be like, no, it's not flawed, I believe in this. That's not the discussion in a new shift. The discussion is you need a crutch, and that assists you with that insecurity, not what you get ready to babble about because you think you're a Mormon, so you think it's a word you need to preach to others and others' cultures. That's a made up concept for people who want to take over other people's land and make everybody think like them. The end. That's the only sense you can make out of it, other than you want to discuss your insecurity and why you into it. Other than that, anything else is flawed. You see what I'm saying? So we're in a new time. You have to be an intelligent person before you use your mind intelligence for things that's not intelligent, but it may have been in the old world a way how you got money or a way how you can look at it as successful, because maybe Walt Disney had Creflo Dollar too much on the commercials before Wizard of Oz come back on, or Muppet Babies on Ice or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Joel Osteen was on the maybe TD Jakes was on too many like infomercials between time before Swamp Thing came back on and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe that it caught us so fast, and time goes so fast, we all become adults already lost, and we already programmed straight from fourth grade. It's just, you know what I'm saying? We don't be catching these incritics, these incricates and stuff like that. But allegories and movies and things is perfect for Pisces season and stuff like that. Pisces energy itself. Even if you want to make something work right now, it's a way how you do it. Even from a narrative perspective, make sure you add an external quality that's separate from you, that other people got access to, and you creative enough to make that link between it and whatever you're trying to explain to someone, aka what we call in a dictionary a parable. These things work best for anything you're into: business, entertainment, education, religion, or politics, when the sun is in Pisces, especially when it's leading up to the full moon. And then you build that up on the right side of the universe, and then it can be played out for good creative goals and stuff like that, not detriment and getting your ass locked up or your heart broke or whatever the case may be. So during this particular time, when you use that type of quality, whatever that you're trying to do. Even if most of the time and the way your sign is and how you are, how you play out your energy, it's hard for you to come across. You may create more misunderstandings than other times. Just practicing it a little bit, ease that quality of down a little bit with that bad quality, and you're able to come across. You might be retarded, but a person might be more believing to what you're doing or what you're trying to express at that time just by doing that quality. So during the time that the sun is in Pisces, add that, especially if you make music, if you do movies, write books or whatever like that. Try to tie something external to you that other people have connected to on their own, but the creativity come from how you could connect it to what you're trying to express. Whether it's that music, that song, that movie, that clothing, or whatever the case may be. Because if you're a creator, you stay up on time. You don't sit around and try to ponder on, even if you made a product and it's not selling or whatever, you don't sit there and ponder on those type of things, because you know that you are in sync with the characteristics of the world at the moment and what people is going to be willing to receive and not. For an example, you might say that's pseudo or whatever the case may be. All right, cool. Try selling a coat in the summertime other than the wintertime. That's even to make it simple, how when it even manifests physically as actual seasonal transitions and stuff. So acting in accordant, if you're a clothes designer, you know it's better to make clothes that match things and probably have enough of material on there if you're getting ready to sell it in winter time. You're not going to be coming up with that idea like, why my coats ain't selling, and it's going through spring and it's going through summer or whatever the case may be. But this how y'all take that energy, and like I said earlier, Master Orator, qualities that we do in the mental world play out in other areas in our life physically that if we're unaware of, especially if we're on the wrong side of the universe, this is where our mistakes come from or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? This is where how we not aware of what's actually going on. Oh, I had another point too. I'm not missed that point. Whatever the case may be. Oh, go back. Yeah, so this is how you understand the energy, and this makes you a good salesperson, not a snake oil used car lot salesperson where it's in the middle of summertime and you still trying to sell the coat, and then you got a nerve to be upset at other individuals because your coats ain't selling in the middle of spring and summertime or whatever. You ain't up with the time, so you're not being creative. So if you're creative and you've been with the time, you're supposed to be true to the game, not new to the game. You're supposed to know it's a cycle. Oh, I got to keep up with this because coats only sell this much when it's cold. It's just it takes somebody else to colonize and someone else culture and someone else to do things off this ground basis for you to not have a culture yourself, get lost in these things because money could come from it and these things help with your survival, for you to be fully lost in that version of it, the synthetic GMO world that they created that's still based off what I'm talking about in the first place anyway, but for you not to see it that way and call it pseudo. You see what I'm saying? This is why you look in Bibles and something and somebody might tell you parts of the Bible it's about astrology and you can't believe it in that manner or whatever. You're in a synthetic version of astrology called religion. You see what I'm saying? But you won't be able to see it that way because you're not seeing what you're actually doing. You're in a box someone may have created off the very thing of what it is in the first place. So when you are in order, you are able to see certain things and understand it, so you put your life in order at that point. You're able to practice those same type of qualities. And a lot of times when y'all start going through misunderstandings and stuff like that, that'd be like one of the main words y'all start using. I got to get my life back in order. Stuff be out of order. You know what I'm saying? So as the moon being in Aquarius right now, we all should be reacting and responding to that fixated air energy, being fixated on your own way of thinking and communicating. So when you act these things out, the external responses from people, places, and things, circumstances, and situations, and even your internal feelings, once you start to push it out and you start to feel that when you inside your first body, either resistance or you can go for it energy, that's going to let you know and decipher, and that's God letting you know. Not y'all human concepts, but that's God, the universe, the natural way, other natures and stuff that y'all don't be paying attention to. Let you know what you need to carve out and what could be better and what's you doing that's already on the right path and what may be wrong or whatever the case may be. So once you start to use that fixated way of thinking and communicating, right, filter it through, because the sun is what the moon looks like. The moon is where we at the moment, the world we in. So that's Aquarius. But the way we have to go about it is Pisces. So for the most part, you have to take that fixated way of how you think and communicate. When you get ready to express it, you're using the Pisces. Make sure you use the Pisces energy. No matter what sign you is, like I said, all stars don't align. So you may create minor frustrations, but if you're doing the thing that's greater than you, what it's doing, and you understand it from that aspect, or whatever the case, you're not too lost into the world. The things that you are lost into the world would be played out more in a beneficial area. You know what I'm saying? And you'll start to see the results. You'll start to see the things, the qualities, or what I'm actually talking about. But once you start to express that fixated way of thinking and communicating through mutable water, Pisces, being mutable and being able to adapt to your own or other people's ways of dealing with the emotions and feelings, then you'll be able to see where you may be fixated in a stubborn thought and way of communicating, because you're taking that fixated way of thinking and communicating and focusing it through the filtering glasses and directing that energy to mutable water, other people's ways of of dealing with the emotions and feelings, and comparing and contrasting it with your own. Therefore, you'll be able to see what fixated thought you're in that leads to stubbornness, and which one can lead into possible consistency or whatever with this fixated thought, right? And make sure that thought is some creative stuff. It ain't some stuff that y'all lost in, like a grudge or whatever the case may be. So when you start acting on it, you might be intelligent in a whole negative world in the first place. So yeah, you got away with robbing a bank, but that validation might lead you to think that you could rob 10 more banks the same type of way, aka have the same joke thinking it's gonna be funny the next time, aka had the same plan or album rollout that you had last time, and forget we in a new shift, and you still so rooted in the physical world doing the same thing I'm saying. You're just in a synthetic version of it. You hear me saying it from more of a broader perspective of it. You get ready to pull out words like pseudo and nah, this ain't the reason why my album ain't selling no more, or nah, this ain't the reason they ain't showing up at my comedian concerts no more, or this ain't the reason why if it looked filled up. I know my handlers and my team went and gave out free tickets to colleges and stuff at that city at that moment, and told them to make sure y'all bring all y'all family and stuff to make it look good in the front row. You know what I'm saying? So it get deep. It get deep at times, but we got to be careful with these energies that we play out. But for the most part, if you are intelligent, you already kind of compete game. You might not know about the depth of everything that I'm saying, but you know it's something to something though. Especially when it comes to the music industry. A lot of y'all who secretly watch me, I understand ain't no payola or whatever the case may be, but I'm everybody, spiritual next door homie or whatever. Y'all know those little mental advices that y'all took and actually act on it was actually played out, and all the things that you did that ain't got nothing to do with watching me and stuff like that play out better than your other move. You know what I'm saying? And once you start to realize that, you start seeing it's a spiritual thing going on, and it's a spiritual war going on outside and things of that nature. It's just people don't know the here or go. It ain't the what, the how to fight, to how to look at it, to how to know what you're doing, or whatever the case may be. And it can be somebody doing these things without ever using these words or even knowing this what they're doing. Spiritual warfare. Yet this spirit is around you with more of a thought form that they know how to tweak to make you kind of agree with them, that go in the opposite direction of things that's in your interest, of things of your benefit, or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times, once it get physical, it'd be too late. And when we get into the industry, all y'all have experienced the times it's too late, and then having to look and all the way down and having to ended up on VH1, having to look up at y'all contracts, having to figure out how to get back on and stuff like that after realizing stuff. That's way after it's too late, once it become physical and rooted in and stuff. And you were so much in the synthetic version and the stuff that comes from it. A lot of times y'all get so far down the line, y'all don't know what to do, and y'all end up claiming y'all need God or Christianity or something like that, which ain't nothing wrong with that when you get into a spot like that. But do know, from an intelligent perspective, it's because you're going through that mental illness at that moment, or that retardation or degenerate concept, and you're realizing that. So you need a crutch. But that's when these things become beneficial for individuals. But once you get past that, you end up being Creflo Dollar or somebody. You end up thinking you could run a church ceremony or whatever and try to teach other people the scripture, where you ran to the scripture because you were scared about something about life or the industry or whatever. So, you know, when we talk about real God and spirituality, that's a personal journey and battle, not something to scam and thief off of other individuals that's lost because Colin has created a concert for themselves to get up there and talk bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, this is what you have to understand. You have to get a little bit more intelligence when it comes into the times that we in right now, because a lot of these mental crutches don't even save us right now. It doesn't save you from an insecurity, doesn't save you from a vulnerability. And then it plays out externally, physically, once it's too late. Nothing saves you from getting taken advantage of. Nothing saves you from getting abused. Then you have to actually go through these things and build up yourself again, and make sure you built up that mind state to not have to go through that same type of similar circumstances again and stuff like that. And a lot of times we ain't got that much time to waste. Everybody might not wake up tomorrow and stuff like that. And I hate to even talk like that, because I hope everybody wake up tomorrow. Everybody is gonna wake up tomorrow. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying? Don't nobody got no time to waste when you had that on your mind, and you let too many 10 seconds, 10 minutes, hours, and the days go by and stuff like that, and you and that goddamn energy. And nobody got time for that. You know what I'm saying? You need to go ahead and pick up your goddamn cross, your body, and then spread it out so you can become a star. You know what I'm saying? Y'all spread yourself out too thin and stuff like that. Then you get mad that you're not getting the qualities that you think other people are getting in areas that you think you respect. So y'all got to peep game. A lot of times y'all just be all over the place and just worried about the wrong things. Stop worrying about the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? Only try to control things you can control. Things you can't control, spending too much time into that, that's your spirit, your space, going into another space that ain't got nothing to do with things that's in your favor or whatever the case may be. And those awarenesses, light forms and stuff like that, play out as a form of hell. So you put yourself in a hell without even dying. But these is what we already doing. So you don't want to be in that state and then actually go through the expiration process with your body and stuff. Your first body is your mind. You don't want to be in that space, in that hell body, amongst other mind states that's in that same type of imagery and visualization and stuff, because we tie ourselves down in our first body, our thoughts and feelings. That's our body and stuff. And then we create cities and states and stuff, and you could bound yourself to a thought form, kind of like what colonists did. So when these things become outdated, you pick a place in the universe that only you can exist in, and that's hell, basically, because the whole point of in sync and being relatable, that's where all energies come from, as far as feeling good or whatever the case may be. Or think about the mind state before we even talk about physically, right? And let's say you got an idea, or you don't know something, right? The idea that people disagree with, or the feeling of your mind not being able to wrap your head around something, is those energies that spark off you feeling insecure or vulnerable, or feeling like you have to have a know-how or whatever. When you have an idea that other people can agree with, or when you do have a know-how, you don't feel vulnerable or you don't feel naked. So that's a cloth, and the right cloth for that internal, external weather and things of that nature. So you need to be closer to God, or the universe has larger on a percentage scale something to do with being in sync and being relatable. And you have to find being in sync and relatable outside of yourself at times. So your in sync and relatable energies within inside of you, your bias can have something to connect with something outside of you, like other people, places, and things, or the land, or the circumstance in that way. And then that's where you find communion within yourself and outside also, or inner peace and outer peace, or surround yourself around an environment or people, places, and things that have that peace also. So for the most part, that's just in the mind to let you know, oh, okay, so if I'm getting too separate and things of that nature, this is why I'm creating dis-ease thoughts. When I'm finding it, because I'm trying to make it simple for y'all, when I'm finding things that got that essence energy in the 7th, 8th, and 9th dimension of being in sync and relatable, I act that out. My mind created and in sync and relatable. That's me being inside of myself. So now I'm about to self-project. That spirit is inside of this mind, and I'm getting ready to fly that mind, that spaceship, into that energy, so it bends in and become adrenaline in real life, me being in the environment and the atmosphere of people who's more relatable or in sync, or me giving my attention to things that's more relatable and sync, even if there's other people in my environment, which we all do, but what they're paying attention to is things that's not relatable and sync. Therefore, I will be able to connect the dots when they can't, to be able to save them from going to jail or help someone else out. And I will be able to use that for other portions of my life. This is where creativity come from. When I could take something in my mind, relate it to something in reality, like we could mind condense and become physical reality. And the better I know how to do that, that's what creativity is, or whatever the case may be. So it don't seem like I'm far out there and I'm not down to earth. My thoughts could be far out there, very broad, but still relatable and sync because I'm not all over the place. And that's all that process that I pull and transmute into whatever I'm doing creates the process of what we're calling creativity. You know what I'm saying? And then for the most part, once you're in that process, you're looking at things from like a mechanism now, not just waking up with an insecurity. Well, I'm not creative. While today's going, you're now knowing the process it takes to get there. And a lot of these things just be in the mind and you're doing it anyway. And then when you do stumble across some goal, get creative, you're already doing what I'm talking about. There's just no school to teach us these things or teach all these things. You got me now. But if there's no school or no familiarity in the world, so these things could be regular things you grow up in, that can match the percentage scale of what Walt Disney may have dumped on your imagery, 3D glasses, eyeballs. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got a peak game, but life ain't deep if you make it simple. But once you make something simple, then go deep, man, life is wonders, infinite. Once you go deep first, then try to make something simple, whatever. You're deep in a world, then you might be in a world that's not even infinite, not even all possibilities. So you're small-minded, limited-minded, or whatever the case may be. That's what that means. And the sun being in Pisces teaches us this. It teaches how to not add everything in our box of mind of practicality. Creativity means that practical box has to have a slit in it for some air to get in it. So, or put it outside for some rain to get in it or something like that. This box, this container that everything gonna be in and structured and no thought but not leave out of it and it's duct taped up and concealed is not always proper when the sun is going in Pisces. And you will start to see when you made the box in the first place still came from a creative space and the box itself was just an internal fortified fort. Ooh, Man, what that mean, right? Things that you have created to protect your thoughts, to protect, leading to vulnerability, leading to being open, leading to being taken advantage of, a place, a internal hub to harness all your ideas because they're directed to a specific way or a specific goal, because now it's starting to play out physically. And you might got a creative gift in business, entertainment, education, religion, and politics. So a lot of those things is good for that time. But when the sun going in Pisces and you don't leave no room open, you can look at that box like a mind and you not being open-minded. Then when things start not to work for the comfort zones that you was already in, you forget the space you was in to make that box, aka comfort zone, in the first place. Then when you lose the things that made the box to make you comfortable, you get naked because you don't know how to make a box again. And here's where that hood cliche term come from. If you lose it, you're supposed to know how to get it again. But I'm just explaining it from an esoteric parable perspective, but making it relate to reality so you can know you're doing this anyway. Whether you want to look at this and think this pseudo, you have to do this process to even come to conclusions. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, when the sun is going through Pisces and stuff like that, and whatever, and me explaining the box, it ain't got nothing to do with just being in Pisces right now. I'm just saying how we make boxes, our spaceships and stuff like that, has to be utilized and made up with the substance of where the sun and moon is at. So we make sure that we're on track where the esoteric waters is going. If the sun and moon and the atmosphere is all like water before it's condensed, then you need to be moving in those type of directions from your mental before it condensed way. Then your condensed way will play out in that better direction as things that you like to go for in your way in your life. You know what I'm saying? And then you'll start to see how that's how the seasons play out. The seasons ain't gonna do nothing like you humans doing, so you shouldn't be doing nothing like another retarded human doing. Like summer ain't gonna be like, man, I check you out. I check you out in 12 other years, fall. And then it'd be a whole 5 years. We have just spring, fall, and winter, and then we gotta wait till summer come back once they leave camp or leave some institution and something like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't never hear, we don't see stuff like that or whatever. So what make you think you can live out of order, and then when someone tell you the actual order, that ain't important to you because you colonized out in the brain? Yet the concept and the context of the information that you're colonized with is based off these things. So it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? You just get intelligent, and then you can bring something to the table, not get lost on a table. You know what I'm saying? And as the moon going to Pisces, it's going to be a new moon. So if the moon is in the same sign as the sun, look at the moon like mama, look at the sun like father. They're doing the same thing at the moment, conjunction. So it can play out as an energy of frustration of two individuals trying to do the same job, but trying to pick who to go and lead and who the boss. Or it can play out as more powerful energy. Both parties is on the same page. So that's an extra problem for anybody in their way or however. So that's how you kind of look at it in the mind of if you're on the right side of the universe or not as the moon start to transition into Pisces or whatever. Is your ideas is in sync with your physicality and the people you're around in your environment, right? And is y'all going in the same direction? Or is you sharing the space amongst people or your peers or whatever, but y'all going in totally different directions? But we all have to experience the same rain. We all got to experience the same sun and moon in the same position. So this is how you're able to substantiate a starting point before you get too lost out there and counterpartmentalize if you're going to be on the right side of the universe or not as we transition and the moon start to go into Aries after Pisces or whatever. So these are things you're supposed to be getting aligned right now with the air quality, communication, and having your fixated way of thinking and communicating, Aquarius, and filter it out creatively, rather through your people, places, and things to see if people match your same creative goals, if they match your same life. Do y'all resonate with the same compassion or emotional state? So mutable water is playing out, being mutable, being able to adapt to your own and someone else's way of of dealing with the emotions and feelings. And if these things are not in order, then you need to start putting action in. No matter if you got to hurt someone feeling or separate from something, even quit or get another job or start to give the job you currently have more attention or whatever the case may be, or however it may play out. Start to work on these things. So as the moon go into Pisces, it's like you're flushing out. This is what we call trash, inner trash. When you're carrying around too much inner trash, it play out as the wrong kind of trauma, and you might bond with the wrong individuals, and y'all all end up in a bad situation. Not the trauma bonding in the right way, the way T.I. is looking at it and stuff like that, where y'all share probably some bad background, but with each other, y'all help out each other mentality, and then that can help y'all be more busy with your creative attributes, and now negative energy get transmuted into positive or whatever the case. But when you start to do these things, it's like shedding. When you allow small things to linger, it become big problems you have to deal with at a time that energy was sparked is not even what we're dealing with at the moment. So this is what makes you moons behind. Then you have to use the energy that your current energy, and then the energy that we all in currently, for energies that we're not all in currently at the moment. So that leaves you frustrated because you ain't use your own energy to match it right and manifest too much of the wrong side of energy when the moon was in that one sign. Then when the moon went into another sign, all those problems that came from that, you got to use that other moon to do that, and now you have to play catch up. You never are able to be free to use the moon where it's at now for the stuff and be focused and open and be in the now, what's going on now. And that's important for life, because this is how a lot of y'all become forgetful. That's the early stages of it. That's getting ready to lead to later on down the week or a month of a accident where you the witness or the victim of something that you didn't want to experience or be involved in. Then if you don't change that initial starting point that's leading you down that train of thought, line of reasoning, physical stimuli, attention span stimuli, and action, then it's going to be a situation that play out even worse. And these things be playing out as you being around people, places, and things that don't even look like it's connected to the previous situation. So it's like the same shit, different day, same shit. Your spirit is still in that same space, creating that same mental first body substance. So when it condenses and becomes in the physical world, it can play out as a different person, place, or thing, but you keep creating the same situations amongst yourself. And if you can't see it that way, that's like God showing you you're on a path that's not always apparent because it ain't something Walt Disney taught us. So if it ain't money involved or something heartbreaking involved or whatever the case may be, these is things that's still happening before the lead up to these things. It's just you don't see it until after it be too late or you're going through these things and stuff like that. But God bring us here, bring people like me, and bring a lot of people like y'all through situations, because a lot of y'all be helping out y'all family, friends, and stuff. You just don't be knowing. I'm making it simple. You don't be knowing that you're actually going through a spiritual journey. You're actually in your spaceship, your mind, and you're flying around, and that's a journey, or whatever the case may be. And when you be bringing that goal back, that be helping people way more than any physical thing or representation. And on top of that, any physical representation that help us, even what Walt Disney taught us, that's how we get it. being in that space. Or it's no such thing as any of these industries that falls on the back of what we call creativity. That's what it is. These are the things that make the world go around. You know what I'm saying? A person that's insecure because they lack creativity somewhere, it probably already played out into real life already as them being lost into the flesh, what the flesh made, or a living condition. So with the mental body that they're in, that might be ugly at the moment. So that they got a weak mental muscle. Their first body is weak. When you got a strong mental body, that muscle is strong. So the physical body, and then with the physical create, you still in an order in some way. So whatever the physical body enduring don't affect the mind. The external situations don't affect the internal as much. You allow the internal to affect the external more. So you could be going through a situation that's probably bad, just as similar as someone else, but someone else take it way worse than you. And they get ready to be on that train of thought and line of reason. And I'm explaining that if they can't see it, with God showing them, it's going to be a complete crash out. Because they never got that time to get out that pocket to see other things God's showing them. Other people, places, and things that show them it could be worse. And they kept trying to make their situation seem like it's the worst. Okay, you manifest it. You're in the worst condition for yourself now. You see what I'm saying? This is how people end up at the bus station. It's how people end up with loss of all their relationships and with close ones and all this type of stuff. They be on a path already. It's just no school for stuff like this. Y'all got me now. But got the medicine, man. But it's just like, it's bad when people go through it. You're going to naturally figure it out anyway. It's just how long these things be taking. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years and stuff like that and stuff. And that be a hard thing on people too. Coming to a new height of knowledge, but then having to come to grips that it's kind of past the time to exercise it where it would have counted. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to be in thought about, all right, I'm intelligent now, but goddamn, you know what I'm saying? But don't even believe that you only live once type stuff either. If you're a human right now, that means you live way more time than any species that got less tension span than you. Tension span builds organ stimuli. So if you're a human at the moment, you as a spirit been expanding and contracting in many different mental and condensed physical forms than any species that lack comprehension. They come after. You know what I'm saying? So we all be bringing each other here and stuff like that. So a bug is just the comings of a bacteria. Or which one? No, a parasite. And a parasite is just the comings of a bacteria. All of these things is animals and bugs, you know, because a animal ain't nothing but the comings from a bug. A human ain't nothing but the comings from an animal, and most of the AP ain't nothing but the comings from a human. See what I'm saying? And then then you're in the washing machine cycle. You know what I'm saying? So we have those layers of life, or whatever. So if you've been the ones who come here and be presenting before another one, they come through you. You know what I'm saying? So for an example. Let's say you a person who get lice, right? But animals get that too. All humans don't get lice, but here's the thing. That's not something you catch out there. It's something the body produces. So when a spirit makes a mind and the mind condenses and becomes a physical flesh, spaces, spirits that become aware, that's smaller than the spirit that expanded and contracted. Expanded, this means creating a mind. Contraction, this means being in it. Then it has an expiration date. Anything start has an expiration date. Then it becomes the physical. And spirits that become aware could take the mental and the physical, less forms of it that you already familiar with. But the spirits be smaller than you too, because you expand out of something and create that awareness and create something bigger for that next thing to be in. So it can be born out. So when we start to think about lice and stuff like that, that's created from inside the body. You know what I'm saying? So look at it like this. Just like that is how concepts of how mosquitoes is now in the world. But it's still something that came after an animal that was in that position, after a human that was in that position. You know what I'm saying? And you might think this is pseudo, right? Here's the thing. Here's something you can't debunk in life. So when you have starting points, you know how to look at this in other pockets that don't have nothing to do with your bias. What I'm trying to say, Dolo, right? Here's what you can't debunk in life. Everything that's living need the thing it's made up of to survive. What you trying to say, Dolo? You humans, y'all made up of 70 to 80% of water, right? Which is why you need fluids, water, to survive. You need the thing you made out of to survive and reproduce. What do a mosquito need to survive and reproduce? Blood. Human blood and certain other mosquitoes, animals' blood. Okay, it's telling you where they come from. They're at a later stage than lice. You know what I'm saying? Lice is still at a stage just being inside your body and just getting out of your body. Mosquitoes been on this process way longer to them, to the now they got the existence outside their body. And then you might be like, that's pseudo dolo, whatever the case may be. You don't know about the pocket of how you came out your mama playing out in other different portions of life as just in smaller and bigger portions. Didn't you come out of something too? So we create what the concept of a womb is, the mind first. We create a collection of thoughts to be inside of as a space. And then that we created the concept of something condensing and the concept of you could be inside of something. Then teamwork makes the dream work. We create versions of that of more condensity, more condensity. So now you're always here in your first body when you make one, but we know how to portal each other into the condensity versions we made and left behind to still be here. Land and physical flesh. So this is why you can give birth to your auntie or your grandparent and be like, damn, you act like Uncle Jimmy, damn, you act like, you know what I'm saying, Uncle Hell, whatever the case may be or whatever. You act like Uncle Don Julio, yeah, auntie or whatever the case. It is that spirit. The act like is a memory. Memory is information. So you have to separate your bias from what information means. If a person know how to do something, they observe that information. So information go beyond y'all biases. That's not always tangible. If a kid born and naturally know how to play the piano better than another kid, that's information. That spirit experience similar circumstances that allow them to be familiar in that aspect, that familiar intelligence or whatever. So that goes to y'all lineages and everything, your way of thinking. How y'all think a lot of times explain more things than y'all be trying to do history about yourselves and allowing other people to tell y'all history and stuff. Like I like to always make this example. You could put all ethnic groups, different ethnic groups and races in front as kids and make them all watch a certain movie at the same time, and they all gonna react differently or come up with a different idea of how they see the movie. Or whatever the case may be. The Asian kid gonna see it different. I'm gonna see it different. The pure African kid gonna see it different, or the African American kid gonna see it different. The Arab gonna see it different. Everybody gonna see it. The European gonna see it different, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? And they're kids. They don't know anything about their lineage to a full degree in their mind yet, and their family and their parents and their siblings or whatever. And so it's a fresh mind, but yet that spirit in there always been here. We're all, ain't nobody going nowhere unless you in hell. Everybody got grace unless you're doing spirit evaporation, but you still part of the people who got grace and coming back. So if a spirit still here, they part of that lineage. They still gonna have that familiarity being in that spiritual space. So those the type of awarenesses, first bodies they create, their mind, that's going to play out through their organ. And 9 times out of 10, the DNA, whether they share or not. Because when we talk about mixed people, one cancel each other out. Ain't no such thing as multiple mixed with it. That's why still Africans here, still Native Americans here, still Asians here. So, if y'all get lost in national, then that way everybody will be some new thing. That don't even make no sense. You know what I'm saying? All the way to how y'all be getting the African stuff. So what arguments y'all saying? Y'all trying to say Africans was in America first? So how did more African phenotype get in Africa then? Wherever there's more of the same people on the continent, that's where they from. The land is making people. The sun ray is making people, not people traveling and just claiming everybody was everywhere. That don't make no sense, or whatever the case may be. So you have to understand that. There's always going to be more Africans in Africa than America. There's always going to be more Asians in Asia than America. There's always going to be more Europeans and European in America. There's always going to be more Native Americans in America than in China, than in Africa, or than Europe. It's just y'all allow Europeans that's colonists to, based on the relationship with the Native Americans and how that is and all the things that come from it, kind of use native hobbyism and other type of things to confuse y'all on that because of the deals that they like to make with Arabs and Asians and stuff like that, and confuse history, taking over somebody else's land. So the things that they had to do to justify it come with a lot of messing up history for other people. Then you got a lot of agents speaking on it who ain't got no business speaking on it. So that already makes them agents. Like, what are you even speaking on it for? A lot of stupid stuff. But for the most part, like I said, people are just confused. But at the same time, when we think about creativity right now, either people could be in a straitjacket, or you could create a new creative lane right now because you've been in this flushing out system. So as Pisces get ready to be a new moon, you got this new thing not holding on to an old thing when it comes into mutable water. Being mutable and being able to adapt to your own and other people's ways of dealing with the emotions and feelings that transmute as parables, creative attributes, and large, broad spectrums of being able to create something as relatable and in sync to make something come across to other people or be received well, and make people don't look at you like your dreams and imaginations is a delusion. They look at your dreams and imaginations as creative, not a false faith and belief. Now, because right now you have to build that up. You have to counterpartmentalize your associations right now to make sure you're in the right environment, or at least trying to make that happen and letting it be known you're around the wrong people, places, and things of that nature, so it ain't no ifs, ands, buts, or about it. So you can start getting into that free energy, right? Keyword, free energy. Then as the moon going to Pisces, now you're going to be free enough to use the moon being in Pisces, not for the moon being in Pisces for stuff that happened in Aquarius or whatever the case may be. Now you have to use that Pisces energy for getting rid of association still, or when the moon was in Capricorn, or to look back at a business that you were supposed to been look at and be like, man, that's a tower moment, or this one works. Or when the moon was in Sagittarius, you being aware of something, or Scorpio, you being manipulated, or something dealing with your relationship when it was in Libra, pardon me, or something that you wasn't practical about, or you didn't handle or take care of as a responsibility, and you let it get swept up under the rug when the moon was in Virgo, as that being a full moon. You see what I'm saying? And for the most part, you're supposed to be dealing with those energies on this lead up now. Now, as the moon start to transition into Pisces, what you're going to be aware of is if you have to be in a delusion, because things, you might be an intelligent person, but here's how you know that you made a mistake and you ain't did what I'm talking about, right? You're going to be frustrated and you can't focus on your creativity or whatever the case may be. Now you got to come up with creative ways to escape something, creative ways to get out of something, creative ways to detach from someone or whatever. And then sometimes these cause more problems, because as the sun still in this little transition of being in Pisces, it's mutable water. Your way of going about these things may make you appear to look a little two-faced or sneaky or whatever the case may be, because here's the thing, not saying something straight up or not being straight up sometimes cause more problems down the road. And the mind state we be in to make us justify or make sense out of not being straight up, a lot of times it can be for good purposes, but a lot of times we have to be hard enough to know that these purposes is not worthy enough. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we be coming up with certain concepts to not be straight up because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or we think somebody going to take something a certain way. And there's enough experiences or examples in life where you might be caught in a box where you're not counterpartmentalizing. There's times that people wanted to be told something and even got mad when someone knows something and didn't tell them, and then they still made a mistake, and then they blame this person like, why didn't you tell me? You supposed to know better. Then you can see other times where a person told somebody straight up, and that person actually reacted in a respectful, like not a respectful, but reacted in a way like they respected that. Like, damn, I respect you for telling me that way, because everybody else and my other family members and stuff like that was telling me in this way, and I wasn't taking it serious the way you just told me. You know what I'm saying? And if that person would have had that energy, how I'm explaining earlier, that you may have, I don't want to tell this person how I might hurt this feeling and stuff, like, you don't even know you might be dealing with a person in that angle. You have to get out of these boxes and stop trying to think for others too much. Be yourself and let life show you if you're on the right side of the universe or not. For your own, you start to develop your own technique. Don't sweat the technique. Then when you develop that, even when you reach mistakes, you have internal grace, but then they don't even be taken as harshly either. So your mistakes don't look like other people's mistakes. Now you're out of that world of when a person is going through bad things and God be showing them it could be worse, they still can't see it, even when it be in front of them. Because God ain't gonna come straight up, but God be right in front of you. And you got to see the things that involve the substance that God made us, that we all made up in and stuff like that. It could be a person just like you. You can't see it because you too much lost in your first body. So that body condensing to become your physical body. You can't see anything through that layer. You just seen it through your first mind layer. And if you're convinced you're going through the worst at the moment, you're not even going to see nothing through this layer in front of these eyes, a bum walking in front of you. And they probably got a smile on their face. You ain't seen none of that. You know what I'm saying? You probably riding around a new Lexus, new Range Rover with a problem that God getting ready to take that away from you. God just made a bum walk in front of you smiling. You thinking you got the worst problem ever. How you know the bum would have been in no depressing spot and think they in the worst spot ever because they ain't got your vehicle? You see what I'm saying? Like, it'd be that simple. Then you end up having that only stupid stuff on your mind all the way to the heartbreak. Crash your shit. You had homegirl on your mind, or you had homeboy on your mind, or you had this stupid stuff. You know, all this stuff on your mind. Now you're in the same position as the bum that God just tried to show you. Look, this a bum ain't in your car. Your problem that you lost in, you can't even see outside of the mental body to even get in the physical body to see outside your car window. That somebody smiling who ain't even got what you got, right? So you were supposed to see that, and you supposed to be like, oh, this thought I'm in, what the hell is that? And you were supposed to hit the L and start smiling. Yeah, you were supposed to start smiling and be like, yeah, thank you, God. It could be much worse. And then you wouldn't even gotten no accident up the road. You know what I'm saying? That you would have went down a whole another train of thought, line of reason, a whole nother path and an event in your life and stuff like that. But since you was this, oh no, this bitch, yeah, she did this, she did that. Oh no, the bump still there in your alternate reality. The bump still there in the same situation. You just picked the other alternate reality. It was two paths. You picked this one. The bump still there, smiling. You couldn't see it in your mind. And then the little bit you could see is lost in the bias part. What Walt Disney taught us. You pay money on your car and the bum taking too long to move and the light green, you beeping the horn. Get the fuck out the way. But he's smiling and stuff like you were supposed to see that part of life. You only see the angry part. So boom, now you ain't smiling and you ain't got no car to smile tomorrow either. Next week, you know what I'm saying? You see how God works? That's how God works. I put you in the same. That's how God works. That's why y'all gotta be chilling out. Y'all gotta chill out sometimes. Chill out. Let me go ahead and upload all these on Patreon. Aries through Pisces specifically, moves you need to make during this particular time, so you could be one up ahead of the game and stuff like that. But I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. I ain't know it was an hour in. I was getting in there. You know what I'm saying? I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flight balls deep, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Aquarius Moon. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God's duties and responsibilities. Erecta Swahil, hold that yellow hoop. Massasoit, Mama Natoy. Woo! Masasaki.